Dude, I had a rough time making this list because, like, this quarterback class, it low-key sucks.
I mean, my quarterback 2, it's going to shock so many people.
Really? I've got some hot takes in there, too. But, I mean, I'm just glad that we don't have to worry about having a quarterback this year.
Yeah, definitely.
Here comes the rush. Love has a lane to run. He throws, end zone, and it's
The 2-minute warning.
And that will take us to the 2-minute warning.
Hey everybody, today we're just going to be ranking, each of us ranked our own list, top 5, and a couple honorable mentions of the top 5 quarterbacks in this upcoming draft class of 2025. We haven't seen each other's list yet, so we're going to have some shockers thrown in there. We're going to talk about why each of us put who where, and just talk about what we think of each prospect, what team fits these prospects, and where we think they should get taken. But yeah, without further ado, let's just get started. We're going to go 1 to 5. If that works with you.
Yeah.
And we're just going to probably have some hot takes in here. Like you said in the beginning, your number 2's a hot take. I'm excited for that one. I'm excited just to get started, though. So you want to start us off with your number 1?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'm pretty basic with my number 1. It's Cam Ward. I think he's got a decent floor, like, relative to the other prospects. It's not the highest floor, but his ceiling is probably the highest outside of one other quarterback who's just way too raw. But I really like his passing ability, obviously. He escapes the pocket better than any other quarterback in this class. His athleticism isn't quite as good as some people act like. Like, his top-end speed isn't that good. But he'll be able to improvise in the pocket and stuff, get out of it. And even though his accuracy is a bit spotty, always gets there. Maybe not in stride, but he just got some stuff to work on, so.
Interesting. Yeah, I think Cam Ward's obviously the obvious number 1 pick here. Obviously the Titans are going to take him. I mean, they canceled the Shedeur a couple days ago. They have been leaked to take him. I mean, it's a clear number 1 pick to me, at least. It seems almost as clear as the Bears taking Williams last year. But personally, I'm actually going to start us off with a hot take.
Oh my gosh.
I actually don't have Ward at my number 1. I'll explain that when we get to Ward on my list. I'll explain kind of what I think his weaknesses are, why I didn't have him number 1. But number 1 is purely because I really like this prospect. I think he's very underrated right now. He needs some attention brought to his name. My number 1 is Jalen Gabriel.
What?
Yes. So
my gosh.
I have the Oregon quarterback as my number 1. Let me give you some context here. I feel like I got to explain myself a little bit.
You definitely do.
So I was watching Jalen Gabriel the other day, and I was kind of set on having Jackson Dart as my number 1. Just a little spoiler. I liked Jackson Dart most of the season. But I was watching some Jalen Gabriel footage, and I was like, this guy's good. Like, I was just watching him, I was like, maybe I'll have him at 2 or 3. I'm liking this guy, you know what I'm saying? And so I was kind of watching him. I was watching, we watched that Penn State game live in the playoffs, and then or right before the playoffs, the Big Ten Championship. And then I was watching some Ohio State footage, and I just really like how he plays, and I think it translates to the NFL really well. So I think that he kind of reminds me, and like, narrative-wise and play-style-wise, a lot of Bo Nix from last season. And obviously I'm a fan of Bo Nix because I'm a Broncos fan, but I think that he plays, like, Oregon plays a lot of screen football. I mean, that's what we see from a lot of college teams, but just from Oregon in general, I think we see a lot of screen football. But I think when he gets the chance to open up the field, he shows a lot of potential. He's very accurate in that 5 to 15 range, and I think that's super important to look at because in the NFL, the biggest transition from college to NFL, one of the biggest things for quarterbacks is that ability to hit someone in stride. Because in the NFL, those balls are going to get picked off if they're behind, like on an out route, for example, or a slant. If they're behind or slow or high, it's getting picked off. Everyone's more athletic in the league. So how often are you hitting their receivers in stride? I feel like a lot of the quarterbacks, if not every quarterback in this class, really, really struggles with that. And Jalen Gabriel really impressed me with it. I thought he was very accurate. And no one's talked about Jalen Gabriel's deep ball. I was very impressed with his deep ball. He's got way more throw power than I thought he would. And he's usually pretty darn accurate with it. He also is great at processing reads. I think, in my opinion, he's the best in the entire class when it comes to processing the field. I think he gets to his reads the best. And yes, he throws a lot of first read action with screens. But when he gets the opportunity to go through his reads, I see him going through his reads very quickly. And that's what I like about him. But overall, I think all those things can make a good quarterback. So since we're talking about Jalen Gabriel as my number 1, I want to hear your opinion. Why are you so shocked at Jalen Gabriel? Like, what is your problem with Jalen Gabriel?
Okay, so I really like Jalen Gabriel. I have him probably higher than 95% of other people.
Okay.
So he's coming very, very soon. So I thought I'd be probably about where you were. I knew you'd like Gabriel, but I just worry about his ceiling. Like, Ward's ceiling with his arm talent is just so much better, and his escapability. I do think that that's the most underrated part of Gabriel is his arm strength. He might have above, like maybe even slightly above average. It's very good arm for the narrative. The narrative's kind of like he's this Brock Purdy 2.0 to even like Bo Nix. His arm's a lot stronger, in my opinion, coming out of college than I thought Bo Nix's was.
Yeah.
He does not play like he's 5'11", 200
right.
pounds.
He's completely different.
Mm-hmm.
No one's realizing that, which is weird.
Yeah, when you watch the film, he looks like a completely different player.
And I think something I didn't touch on. I think he has surprising mobility. Like
Mm-hmm.
he doesn't use it that often because he likes playing as a pocket passer. But I feel like when he gets outside the pocket, he can move a little bit, which is kind of another reason I was comparing him to Nix because coming out of college, no one thought he could move at all. And then in the league, everyone's like, wait, this guy's fast. So I think that Gabriel can surprise some people with escapability too. And I understand that Ward's really good at escaping. But yeah, I mean, like you said, you like Gabriel too. So why are you so shocked that I put him? Is it because of his height?
It's height. It's his arm isn't as good as Ward's. It's everything.
I feel like it's more accurate in my opinion.
Yeah, it's definitely more accurate.
But in that I feel like we don't give accuracy enough credit in the league. Ward, and I'll talk about this in a little bit actually, but I have a couple problems with Ward, and that's the reason I didn't put him above.
Yeah, well, the reason why we kind of discount accuracy in college is kind of like Josh Allen came in with 0, and
like
you're able to fix it.
Right now.
Most people do improve their accuracy. With Ward, he's at least getting it pretty close to where it needs to be, even if it's like a little bit behind them. Mm-hmm. So I think that could be fixed. I think Ward has a lot more potential, obviously. I've said that a lot, than Dylan Gabriel. But Gabriel's also got like the most college starts of all time. I mean, he just passed Bo Nix.
Yeah.
You've looked at recent years, Jane Daniels, Bo Nix, very experienced guys, and they're the ones who translated immediately to the league, the people with the most college experience, even if they weren't that good early in their career. But Dylan Gabriel was. His whole college career, he was amazing, and in high school, he was in a very pass-heavy offense. Mm-hmm. So he might have like the most in-game, like high-level quarterback experience of any quarterback to ever enter the draft. So I think that's super valuable.
I think, I don't know if this is a hot take, I think Shedeur's known as this, but I think Gabriel will translate the fastest to the league. I think he's going to come in and look like a ready player, no matter what team he goes to, purely because of all the things that you're saying. And I think that is undervalued in today's league. Like, I get that we don't need a guy to start right away, but for a team that's taking a shot on him in the second or third, I think easily, based on where the players are going, he's the best value that you can get where he's going. Because I don't think Ward's good enough to take number 1 overall, and I think that he's good enough to take back in the first round minimum. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I feel like taking him in the third, if you can get him in the third, I mean, that's a steal.
Definitely.
Because he's ready to play. Even if his ceiling isn't going to be as high as these other guys. Like, I don't know how good he can truly be, but with how weak this class is, he's the one I feel most comfortable taking because I know that, or I'm confident he's going to translate his game to the league, and even if, his height becomes a problem, he plays a style of football to where I know we can at least do something with him. Like, he can be an average quarterback in this league.
For sure.
Is what I'm confident in, so that's why I have him number 1. But let's move on to number 2. I'm going to start us off because it's obvious. Obviously, I have Ward number 2. And I'm 1, so I need to have him 2. Yeah, I mean, the reason I didn't put him 1, like I said, I have a couple problems with him. It's that accuracy, mainly, especially in that intermediate range. I think he's got a great deep ball. It's super pretty most of the time. But his footwork is really bad. Like, I don't know if you watched any footwork when you were watching the film, but I just don't like his footwork. He gets lazy a lot of the time with it. I mean, we've seen plays where he's just standing still in the pocket. I'm not even talking about those, but like he just straight up gets lazy with his footwork sometimes. And that leads to a lot of his behind his throws. Like if he can fix that, he's gonna be a great quarterback. I mean, it's just as simple as it is. But 1, I'm not taking him at number 1. I don't think he's worth the number 1 overall pick. And 2, the footwork being so lazy really does worry me. And just the intermediate range being so iffy. Because, like, even when he's hitting his receiver, I'm not as worried about if he's hitting them. Like, I don't need to know if it's a completion or not. I'm looking where the ball is. The ball's at their feet. The ball's behind them. The ball's above them. Like, it's almost never in stride in that intermediate range. And that really worries me. I mean, the only other problem I have with Ward is his velocity. I feel like no one's talking about it, but on his out routes specifically, there is almost no velocity on that football. And I don't know if that's due to his lazy footwork. I don't know if it's due to the fact that he doesn't think he needs the velocity. Maybe that's what it is. But in the NFL, out routes are the biggest change in pace, in my opinion. Like, you got to put so much oomph on that ball to get it out there in time. Because corners in the NFL are so much more athletic than the teams that Miami was going up against this season. You know what I'm saying? Like, they had a relatively easy schedule. I mean, compared to, like, the other teams that were in playoff contention.
Yeah.
they had a relatively easy schedule, and those guys are nowhere near the Pat Surtains of the world, the Derek Stingleys of the world. They're just not as good. And we all know that. It's college to NFL. And so these guys that are just going to explode off their breaks and see that out route, if it's floating like this in the air, they're coming and grabbing it, and it's a pick six every single time. So that worries me. He's got to step up his velocity because he's got a strong arm. Like, it goes far. But I think instead of just looking at the fact, it can travel far, we need to start looking at the fact that, how strong is the velocity on this throw? Because that is almost more important in the league today. But before you give us your number 2, give me the reason that you disagree with anything I just said.
So I do feel like it's not necessarily effort, but like I think he can put that velocity on there.
You think so?
I've seen like RPOs and screens where he just like whips it for no reason, like with the arm angles.
It's 50-50. It's so weird.
Yeah, like he'll get the arm angle around the edge rusher who breaks off, and it just gets there really fast. A lot of them drop it. It's kind of annoying. But so many drops behind the last line of scrimmage in this class, especially with all the RPO quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, I don't know. I just feel like his upside is so much better than Gabriel. I'll even talk about a couple reasons how much I like Gabriel, why he's lower than if someone else liked Gabriel as much as me, if that makes sense. You'll see later, but yeah.
Do you think that Gabriel's more or less ready than Ward right now?
I'd say more.
Okay,
but also
he's purely ceiling based then.
Also, yeah, definitely. But I think Ward's more ready than it's closer than you think. I think.
Okay, well, I'm not saying Ward's not ready. The way that they play football, I think one translates to the NFL better. So purely based off of that, like even if you think Ward is a NFL caliber quarterback, I think Gabriel's more ready because of his play style. I think Ward, I don't know how to explain what I'm trying to say, but I think that Ward is less ready because of that purely.
I almost think hero ball isn't really his play style. It's kind of just what he had to do. Like, he'd make one mistake early on, his defense would suck, and they'd be down 30 points, and then he'd have to...
He also just decide not to play in the first half a lot of the time.
Like the Cal game.
Me. Yeah, the Cal game was terrible.
That was like the most...
His decision-making also worries me sometimes.
He just thinks he's the best player to ever step foot on a football field.
He is kind of like Jordan Love in the sense of he thinks he can make any throw on the field, but I think Jordan Love has a much better arm than he does and can make every throw on the field. Whether it's all the time or not, Ward can't. Ward can't make every throw on the field, and he thinks
he's close.
I just don't think, like, the Cal game, there was a specific one, if you guys want to go look this up, it's a really funny play.
The crossbody.
He just runs to the side, and when he just decides he's going to throw it all the way across body and throws a pick six, that puts his team down, like, a touchdown at half, like, right before half. It's like, you cannot make those types of mistakes in the NFL. Those are what loses you. Those are what lose you the game. You know what I'm saying?
And I kind of worry about he's going to the Titans, so he's going to have to do this again. If he was going to a real team, like the Vikings, I'm just throwing a team out there. Obviously, they're not trying to take a quarterback because of McCarthy. But if he was going there, I mean, he could fix that hero ball stuff. He wouldn't have to play hero ball.
That's true.
But
and have good receivers that don't drop the ball every play. I feel like they had a lot of drops when I was watching the film. I was like, jeez. But I also think that I know I keep bringing up more worries with him, but like I'm saying all this because with Ward, it's more like trying to find a reason he's not number one than trying to find reasons he is. So I'm kind of talking about the reasons I don't have him there because he's a great quarterback. Don't get me wrong, but I think that another reason I'm worried is because, like you said, he's going to the Titans. How is he going to translate his game with such a downgrade in the offensive line? If that makes sense, like they're upgrading him a D-line category when it comes to the NFL, and your offensive line is lower tier in the league. So his line was good in college. Like, let's be honest, he had a good offensive line. And while he did show good pocket presence sometimes, there was also plays I was like, what are you doing? Like, what is that? And I think, again, goes back to his footwork sometimes. He gets caught up and trips over himself, and it makes it hard to move around the pocket. But I'm worried about how he's going to translate, especially in the beginning. Like you said, he's got a high ceiling, but how is he going to translate in the beginning? And are all the Titans fans going to turn on him and he's going to lose this chance, you know? Because that's the story of a lot of number one overall picks. They don't do well in their first season, they get thrown out, and they don't get another chance.
I mean, normally they kind of get 2 years. Like, even Zach Wilson, I think beginning of year 3 was that when he started with the mom stuff? Yeah. Because everybody rebought into Zach Wilson after he showed nothing. Like, people were bought in the whole way, and then, like, they kind of gave up, and then he had, like, some stupid situation. People got back in. I mean, you don't have to do anything to keep the fans' approval, but, I mean, you saw Will Levis. Will Levis got thrown out of there after just about one full season of starting. So.
I just am worried that I think he's going to struggle in his rookie season quite a bit. And even if he's a great quarterback, if he's let's say he's a top 5 quarterback one day, which I don't think he will be.
I thought you were saying Nick this year, and I was like, what?
No, let's say he's a top 5 quarterback one day in his career. I don't think he will be. Let's say he is. The way he would get there is having 1 to 2 bad years, like struggle years, and just figuring it out from there. In my opinion, that's how I see it, and that's why I'm worried about it, and why I don't have the number 1. But who's your number 2? We never got to that, so I'm kind of scared for this.
Yeah, you should be. It's Jalen Milroe.
No!
I bought into the upside again, and I will talk about why Gabriel is not number 2, because obviously Gabriel's in a different world in terms of how ready he is to play right now or in the next 2 years.
Not even kind of close.
But the value, I don't know. I guess I'll say that for Gabriel. But anyway, for Milroe, obviously top tier tools. His arm is iffy. It's average, but his legs are amazing. Obviously, that's kind of a weird way to say that. But he ran a 4.37 at his pro day, which is probably more like a mid 4.4s. Obviously, the pro day numbers are always inflated. But okay, so even though he's obviously not as fast as he ran at his pro day, 4.45 is top 5 speed in the starting quarterback easily. His mobility was amazing at Alabama. I don't know how many rushing yards he had, maybe like 800 and like 20 touchdowns or whatever. And they're not just Jalen Hurts touchdowns. They're like rolling out on like 2nd and goal from the 10 or whatever.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. He's a red zone.
Yeah.
Red zone rushing threat. His release is the fastest in the class, which is not what you'd expect. He messes one little tiny thing up in his release, and it's not going to be a good throw. So if you just get that fixed, he gets with a good quarterback coach who can refine his mechanics. He could become, if he does work out, he's going to be a very, very good quarterback, and he's going to have the read option threat, all those threats, able to put the ball basically anywhere except for like crossbody 50 yards downfield, which you don't really need. And normally when a quarterback can do that, they tried a little too much. So I don't really value that too much. I think Milroe's got all the ideal tools. And even if his accuracy, especially this season, wasn't that good, I think he can fix it. And he showed enough to be starting at Alabama, bringing them to the playoffs last season, or the season before last season.
Yeah.
He went to the playoffs, and I know this season they missed, but that whole team was kind of bad. So
Interesting.
For Bama, at least.
Well, I'll tell you why I disagree with him being a high. Spoiler alert: I don't like Jalen Milroe.
Don't tell me where he is.
I'm not gonna tell you where he is, but
I'm worried about that.
I don't like him. I think that he is too raw. So he reminds me of when Anthony Richardson was coming out. Not because he's as good of an athlete. Obviously, he's not as good of an athlete as Anthony Richardson, but in the sense of. And I've been talking to you about this for the last few months, actually. I feel like scouts, fans, everyone, coaches, everyone is caught up in this idea that someone being athletic means that they're going to be good. Not that they will be good, but that they have so much potential. And I understand that in a sense. But what I don't understand is that we just disregard clear facts that show they're going to be bad. Like Anthony Richardson had a 50% completion percentage in college. He was never going to be good. He just wasn't. He's not accurate enough. And accuracy is part of arm talent, and people don't care about that. Now, I understand that a lot of time accuracy can contribute to straight-up mechanics. Like when we talk about Jackson Dart, I think a lot of his inaccuracies come from not rotating his body all the way, and he just tries to throw straight on. And that is a problem. But guys like Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, they all had a gift. You know what I'm saying? Like the top quarterbacks of all time, they had a gift to throw the ball where they wanted to be more accurate. Like they had very similar, if not the exact same mechanics as all these other guys, but they knew how to put the ball where they wanted because there is talent involved. And I think that just looking at pure athleticism is a mistake, and it almost never works out. The only time it's ever worked out in the last 15 years is Josh Allen. And I just don't think, you got to take Milroe in the second round. I've seen some people saying take him in the first, which is just absolutely ridiculous.
I have not seen that.
I just don't think that's worth it. I don't even think the second's worth it. That's a high pick you've got to use him on. He's mocked the second.
I think if you draft him with pick 60, I think that's where I would draft him personally. Late second round picks, you see them all the time not work out, and you don't even hear about them because it's not super value. Like Enos Rakestraw, you probably don't even know who that is.
The corner?
Yeah, for the Lions. He didn't touch the field. They had so many injuries.
Yeah, but that's just a bad pick. make a good pick.
Yeah, but like
I don't know. I think that he's not going. I just don't think there's. I think there's like a less than 1% chance he works out. I'm being dead serious. I think there's a less than 1% chance. I think he's super inaccurate with the football. His arm is like okay. Like he can throw the ball far. Cool. I mean, you're fast to throw the ball far. You just sound like Anthony Richardson, but downgraded version. And like that's not what I want. I don't want that guy at all. And
he's a lot more refined.
I don't know, man.
As a passer?
He's so bad as a passer. Like, he's in the short to intermediate range, by far the worst in the class. Out of anyone that's getting taken.
Oh, okay.
Out of anyone that's getting taken, he's by far the worst in that area. Deep, I don't even think he's top 5. And that's like his specialty when he's throwing.
I mean, he doesn't really have a throwing specialty.
Exactly. And he's playing quarterback.
Yeah,
now,
but
if you wanted to say, let's see if we can put him in a different position, cool. That sounds cool. Let's not take him in a second.
Yeah, but like if that's your fallback plan, that he's Taysom Hill, that's
gosh.
a good fallback plan for a quarterback who doesn't end up working out.
Taysom Hill, let's be honest.
If he doesn't work out, you're in year 5.
Okay, if he goes
you're a
to,
new
the
team
Saints,
signing him.
He's screwed.
Why?
Because they suck.
And they're probably going to play him soon. I think he needs 1, probably 2 years on the bench.
Yeah, and they're probably going to play him fast. So I think I don't see it working out. And yeah, I mean, you'll see based on where I put him. But I just don't think it's working out. Let's move on to number 3, though.
Give me 1 sec. Just got to clear something up.
Sorry.
I'd say there's about a 34% chance.
That's very specific.
that he is a starting quarterback down the line. And I believe if he's a starting quarterback, there's a much higher chance that he is a higher end starter than a lower end starter.
If he becomes a starter, I think he will be a bottom 5 starter.
I don't understand how he'd still be starting. With these tools, if he works out well enough as a passer.
At all.
Huh?
I don't think he's starting at all. Like, I don't think he's going to be a long-term starter. Is that what you're saying? If he becomes a long-term starter?
I'm saying if he becomes a long-term starter, I think there's a better chance that he's a top half of the league starter than a bottom half of the league.
I just don't think he's going to become a starter. Like a long-term starter.
I think he could with the right coaching.
I don't think there's coaching that can fix that.
He was not that bad.
He was that bad. I mean, watch Josh Allen, the one that worked out. He had way more signs of being good in college. Like
he played at Wyoming.
Yeah. There's a reason
and looked terrible.
There's a reason in what was known back then as a strong quarterback class, he got drafted 7th.
That's because his tools were better.
Or 10.
His arm was one of the best arms we've ever seen come out of college.
Right. Arms. You hear that, right? Like you're taking this guy because of his legs.
His leg, his arm, everything.
There's nothing to do with his arm. You just said he doesn't have passing
His arm is his passing specialties is release. But that's really good. If you can figure out that processing, you can be one of the better.
If you can figure out processing, accuracy, footwork, and just
his footwork isn't bad.
It's not good.
It's not bad.
It's not good.
You know who's invited to the draft?
See, he might go first round.
Yeah. That's the players that get taken the first round that they think will get taken, get invited to. And he accepted the invitation. He's going to be at the draft. So that's...
So he's going to get taken and it's going to be a bust, is what you're telling me.
No, I'm saying that the NFL clearly likes him more than the media and
his only chance, chance, is if the Rams take him. And he sits behind Stafford, which you won't learn anything much from Stafford because they play so different, but Sean McVay will fix it. Not will, but it has the only shot in the league to fix him, besides maybe Reed, who's not going to take him, obviously.
I don't know, man. Mahomes the last few years. Just kidding.
That's true. All right, you good now?
Yeah.
Move on to number 3. I'll let you start because it's been very heavily implied, but you're putting Gabriel at 3. Is that right?
Yeah, Gabriel's definitely my number 3. So the reason why I think Gabriel, even though I like him better as how ready he is than Milroe, he's miles ahead.
Right.
2 years maybe. Ahead
more than that.
Yeah, but how valuable is your your replacement level quarterback, like Derek Carr? Like, what if he turns into Derek Carr? Or, let's think higher tier, Geno Smith.
But I think you can say that about any prospect.
Yeah, but, I feel like his upside is very limited. It's very capped.
Is there a reason for that, specifically?
Is
it because of his height, or...?
Well, he's slower and shorter Bo Nix. So what all the people are saying about Bo Nix, how his ceiling is almost basically where he is, it's kind of the same with Gabriel.
Okay.
And he's shorter, and he's lefty, right?
Yeah, but
that's
there's nothing wrong with that.
That makes it harder.
To be a backup, here's what I think. I think I don't really understand ceilings because for example, Bo Nix looked great in his rookie year. He had an amazing rookie year. Everyone thinks he's a franchise quarterback. But because of that, everyone's like, oh yeah, but his ceiling sucks. Why? Because he's good?
I wouldn't say ceiling sucks, but I'm just saying, like, I'm trying to think of an upper tier game manager who's not Jared Goff, because he's basically like an anomaly who's propped up by his system.
I think that Gabriel, if you watch him, he is a lot like Nick's, where the system is hiding what he can really do.
The Oregon offense is very confined. Exactly. You saw it with Herbert, too. He's a much more talented scrambler.
Exactly. And so I think that he's going to shock people. I don't think that he has to be a game manager. He plays a lot like Nick's. And Nick surprised people with the fact that he could throw a deep ball. Like, he could. And he could open up the field. He could throw that intermediate ball. And that is a good quarterback. And I don't understand why that means his ceiling's low. Like, let's look at a top three, we think we have the same number 1 and 2 quarterbacks in the league, which is Lamar and Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow, what would you consider his play style?
Well, Joe Burrow's arm is a lot stronger.
Okay.
It's on a different level.
Okay, but I'm just saying, he plays the style of football of let me sit in the pocket, let me find a guy, let me take some deep shots every game, let me just be an accurate quarterback that's trying to get as many yards as I can.
You're looking at a quarterback who's 6'4".
He's not 6'4". And, okay.
I think he might be 6'4".
Obviously, Lamar runs a lot. Who would you say your third best quarterback is right now? Like, around that range. It doesn't have to be exactly 3. Just someone around that range.
There's a lot of people around that range.
Yeah, Herbert. I know you don't love Herbert. You don't love Allen.
I think Allen's probably third.
You think Allen's probably third? I mean, he also plays a lot more of that scrambler role. Mm-hmm. So maybe that's not a good example.
But you think the top quarterbacks are scramblers, have great arms. Where do the first quarterback?
Arm is underrated.
Yeah, I do too. But I don't think it's. I'd say it's slightly above average.
You know who didn't have a good arm?
Who?
Like if he was coming out of the draft right now, you'd say he has a below average arm.
Who?
Peyton Manning.
Okay, well, Peyton Manning. Okay, comparing Dylan Gabriel to Peyton Manning.
No. I'm saying you don't need to have a top 5 arm in the league to be a top 5 quarterback.
I know, but I just think that the chances that he is an average to above average quarterback, like maybe the 8th best, might be his likely highest ceiling. Like, obviously, anybody, if you're just like the best accuracy quarterback of all time, could be the best quarterback in the NFL.
I get what you're saying.
But if you are average accuracy and elite tools, then you're going to be top 5.
But I also think.
Or above average accuracy.
So you think that his ceiling is 8th best quarterback around there?
Well, I said anybody can be higher, but like
obviously,
his achievable ceiling, I'd say.
That Gabriel has the highest chance in this class to hit his ceiling. Would you agree?
Probably, because his ceiling out of the quarterbacks I like is the lowest.
So you're taking a quarterback in the 3rd round.
Yeah, that's insane.
That is most likely to be a top 8 quarterback in the league.
He should be considered. Like, if he falls outside the 2nd round, that's going to be like the best draft value we've had in years.
I'm saying it's not fair to put Milroe above him when you're like, well, I'm hoping there's a 34% chance that Milroe could be good. And you're like, there's a good chance he could be top 8 if you're doing Gabriel. That's who you take. That is a much better
I don't think there's a
prospect.
good chance he's top 8.
You just said that he has the highest chance to hit his ceiling.
A high chance to hit his ceiling, but his ceiling is only top 8, which for a ceiling is kind of low.
I see what you're saying. I mean, I
think
the 8th.
He's
going to surprise people. I think he's going to surprise people.
Okay, is the 8th best quarterback in the NFL a Super Bowl caliber quarterback?
With the right team, yes.
I mean, we just saw Jalen Hurts do it.
Yeah,
he's not the 8th best.
8th, so
yeah,
I think that it's possible.
Yeah, but you have to just do so much work around the quarterback. Where, in my opinion, if let's say the Eagles retained all their players, their biggest weakness would have been quarterback.
So
Yeah, but
you don't
he
think
can get
loves a Super Bowl
not right now, but I think he could be.
Okay, that's the first time you've ever said that. All right, well,
I think he will be.
Do you have anything else to say about Gabriel? We've talked a lot about him, obviously.
That's like half the show.
So I think I will bring up my number 3. My number 3 is Jackson Dart.
Oof.
I mean, I don't think you get to say oof when you just put Jalen Milroe at 2. Dart, to me, has a lot of potential. Obviously, a lot more people have been riding high on him as of late. Getting mocked all the way as high as 9 in the 1st round, which is crazy. Like, way higher than he was supposed to be. As I said at the beginning of the show, I've been high on Dart the whole season. McKay knows this. I've been talking up Dart the whole year. After watching some film a couple times over, I think that there's just too many accuracy issues to put him above either of the other guys. And if I'm holding true to what I've been saying, accuracy is huge, right? You've got to be able to put the ball where you want to put the ball. And I think that Dart has the physical traits that you'd want in a quarterback. He's very good with his legs. I mean, we were talking about this, like, very, very underrated with his legs. And he's big. He's a big quarterback that's good with his legs. He's got a strong arm, and he just has the physical traits that you're looking for. Maybe not to the highest extent, but like when you think of a good physical quarterback, like this is a good physical quarterback, you know? And I think that he could be something good. Like I think he has a ton of potential, and I wouldn't surprise me if he's a great quarterback in this league. The reason I have him lower, like I said, is the accuracy. He has too many footwork problems. So I think it's very, very dependent on where he goes. If he went somewhere like the Saints at 9, I don't think he'd be good.
I don't think any quarterback.
Right. Exactly.
Gabriel probably wouldn't even be good.
Exactly. And so I think if he went to the Rams, sat behind Stafford, that's the perfect spot for a guy like Dart. Like perfect. Like he's got the best out route in this draft by far. He's very good on the sidelines specifically, right? He really struggles in the middle of the field being completely accurate, and he struggles with decision making. He's very, very slow when it comes to his decision making, which is why I think he needs a year on the bench. But Dart to me is my project quarterback in this draft because your project quarterback is clearly Milroe. You got to mention it. But my project quarterback is Jackson Dart because I think he has a lot better of a chance of being a good quarterback, and I think with the right situation, he really could be something special.
Well, we evaluate him very different.
But do you?
He's, as you said, very physical. His speed is good. His escaping ability is not. Once he gets the open field, he's fast. Otherwise, he's not. But
his line also sucks. Let's put that out there real fast. His line is not good.
Yeah, but you kind of combat, his stats are heavily propped up by RPOs, even more than any other quarterback in this class.
I haven't looked at any of the quarterbacks' stats.
hate that offense. It's good for college. For the NFL evaluating, it's impossible.
Exactly.
But I just see him as Will Levis, but with.
I think he's the hardest to scout because of the offense.
With a not terrible. Will Levis is a great arm.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Dart's arm is special. I think it's around where Dylan Gabriel's arm is.
I think Dylan Gabriel's arm is above average.
I think Gabriel's arm is better. I think they're in the same tier, and I think he would have.
I think Dart's stronger.
The 18th best arm out of starting quarterbacks in the NFL.
That's average.
Yeah, but he's your project. I don't see the upside. I see him as a low upside project.
Because
I'd rather have Zach Wilson as a project.
I think that if you watch him, first of all, I think you're underrating how strong his arm is. Just his ability to make throws. If he figured out his footwork, his arm, he'd be able to throw the ball 10 times further than he is right now. And he's doing this with poor footwork. But I think that the reason that he's my project is because the only thing mainly wrong, everything that he does wrong stems from bad footwork. That's it.
That's what you hope. And then that could be a thing. But also, imagine he fixes his footwork and his accuracy still sucks.
Well, then he would fail the project. But that's why he's a project.
I just think that the upside of Milroe is a lot higher. You can't deny that.
But I think there is a exponentially higher chance that Jackson Dart hits his ceiling.
I just don't see
I don't think you should take him in the first round. Let me clarify that right now. He's not a first-round quarterback. Easily take him over Milroe, though. Not even close.
I completely disagree. His accuracy is slightly better than Milroe, but it is not good. And as you said, his processing is slow.
Just to clarify, this is the guy that liked Bryce Young over C.J. Stroud. Just putting that out there. Keep going.
What? Bryce Young's better than C.J. Stroud.
I'm not getting into this right now.
Okay. Anyway, you just completely threw off everything.
He also liked Anthony Richardson.
I had him at 15.
Way too high. Now keep going.
Okay, you didn't evaluate then. What was I gonna say?
I have no idea.
So the one thing is I think his processing is really bad, as you said.
Yeah.
But I think it looks so much better than it is because of how fast when he sees his read. When he sees an open receiver, which takes him forever, he sees one, the ball's out. So I think his processing is even worse than we think just because it's propped up by how fast he actually makes the decision, which sometimes he makes the decision and it's gone and he's like, oh crap.
I think that making decisions fast is good though.
But he does not make a decision fast. He
just
decides.
Said he does.
No, he makes his decision, but if he was a fast processor and accurate, he'd be the best quarterback in the draft class, but he's not.
Right, but here's what I'm saying. I think it looks worse than it is. And here's why. I think they run way too many RPOs. So one, it looks like, he's not processing fast enough. There's so many plays where he only has one read, and if it's not there, it's like, he didn't process, so he took a sack. That's just the play design. Two, I think that when they open up the field, he looks so much better. When they run 4 wide sets, he's got guys running down the middle, guys running down the sideline. He's able to spread out the field. he looks so much better. And you know what you have to do when those guys are like that? Read the field, process. So he's not as bad as everyone's acting like he is. Like, yes, I think he's got some stuff to work on when it comes to that.
Everybody's acting like he's better than you think he is.
No, not
he's
in
in
processing.
almost every first-round mock.
Everyone says his weakness is processing. And what I'm trying to say is that he does have to work on it. That's not what I'm saying he doesn't need to. But I think that he's better than you think because the play system or the system that he's in is making him look a lot worse than he is.
But you also think about it, and we haven't talked about this for any of the other quarterbacks, but his weapons, he definitely has the best receiving core, I think, unless I'm forgetting about somebody. Out of anybody in this, that's...
Just because of Trey Harris?
I mean, he's got
Juice
Wells and Watkins, who are both receiving late-round draft type right now.
Because of him?
I will put it out there, I think Juice Wells is a terrible player.
I think they're both not going to be good at all.
Yeah, but they're still getting draft hype. Oh, we'll talk about Sanders, actually. We'll talk about him, his
receiving core, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, much better.
I mean, I'd say it's in a different tier, but it's still like the next one.
I think it's a pretty hot take that we haven't brought up Sanders yet, actually. But
it definitely is. He's consensus QB2 on everybody.
Are you ready to move to that then? To number 4?
Okay.
We might have the same one for the first time. I have Shedeur Sanders.
I do not have
No
Shedeur
way, you
Sanders.
don't have it. Wait, what? You dislike him that much? Is this where you have Dart then?
I have Sanders there.
Oh, okay. Why'd you say you didn't?
I was thinking, because I switched them a lot.
Oh, okay.
I switched them a lot. But
Okay,
this
so
latest one.
we have the same one for the first. I think this is going to be our only one. We have the same one. I think it's guaranteed.
Definitely.
Now. So that's funny. But I'll start on Shedeur. I liked Shedeur 2 years ago. Like, not this last year, but the year before. I liked him at Colorado, obviously. I thought he was a good prospect. I thought his ability to play without an offensive line early in his career was good because, like, I think that translates to the NFL. You're already used to not having time, if that makes sense. I think a big reason that it takes so long to adjust to the NFL is because your line is, like, you're getting pressured so much faster. Like, so much faster. You have way less time to make reads. But he has taken a step back this year when it comes to being able to play with that bad offensive line. He's waiting too long, and he just has convinced himself that he is God. Like, he's convinced himself he can make every throw on the field. He's like Ward, but he has nowhere near the arm talent. Like, it's not even close. And so he really struggles in a lot of those ways. I'll let you talk about this, but I know you don't like his pocket presence and his ability.
I don't think anybody does.
After watching the film, I think that it's not that bad. I don't think it's like that much concerning, just because his line, by far the worst out of everyone we're talking about today. Like, it's not close. And I think that is something to take into account. I do think that he could be a lot better at it, but I don't think that it's like my biggest concern with him. I like that he's accurate in the intermediate range. I just don't like one of the biggest words I have in him. First of all, attitude. I don't think he's coachable. Like, I just don't think he's coachable. He's had his daddy coach him his whole life. Like, he just seems like a brat. You know, like, I just don't. He reminds me a lot of when Caleb Williams came out. I didn't think Caleb was coachable. I mean, you'll remember this. I hated Caleb as a prospect. I thought it was so dumb that he was the number 1 quarterback. And now he looks like probably the 5th best quarterback in that class. You agree with that? Don't act like you're confused.
Well, I'm just saying, the general consensus would probably have him at 2 or 3.
Caleb?
For going forward.
Yeah, but, like, if you're, like, not a casual, you know Caleb's 5th. Because
every analyst is going to put him above 5th.
Yeah, but they're casuals. So I just think Shedeur, he's not coachable. I think that he's got the weakest deep ball we've talked about. And, yeah, I mean, his pocket pressing needs work. But I think that he is ready when it comes to his accuracy in the short to intermediate range. And I think his processing is not bad. Is that enough to carry him? I don't think so. And that's why I have him at 4, especially for where he's going. A top 10 pick? Are you kidding me? No.
Top 3 in some
pick?
cases.
No way in hell am I taking that. So I just think he's overrated. I don't think I see a ton of upside there. He just kind of is what he is. And if he's coachable, then, like, maybe he'll get a little better. I just, like we talked about today, I think his ceiling's pretty low.
I mean, think about it. You come, like, 3 years ago, and I tell you, not Shedeur, why can't I think of his dad's name? That's so embarrassing. Deion Sanders' son is coming out in the draft. He's playing quarterback. You'd think one of the best athletes in the NFL ever is having a kid, and he's playing quarterback. We're watching Lamar Jackson. You're watching Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
Like, it's completely different.
Where's Brock Purdy? In my opinion.
Yeah, Brock Purdy without pocket presence. Maybe his best trait is escaping the pocket and stepping into it, having great pocket sense, which Shedeur does not have.
Yeah, so maybe that wasn't the best
I'd
comparison.
say, well, whatever. I'm just saying, like, from a passing standpoint, he's limited by his arm. His accuracy's really good, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
One of the best, if not the best in the class, purely standing still, throwing to a receiver.
Mm-hmm.
But his consistency of how bad his pocket presence is a little bit overhyped. But the bad ones are horrific. BYU game, biggest game of their season, really. Because, I mean, all their other biggest games where they could have went to the playoffs, he also choked and they lost.
Right.
But their final game of the season, their bowl game that they all said they were too good for to play BYU.
Yeah, and
Which
they got
is
killed.
They got killed. Shedeur takes, when the game's still a game, it's like maybe 3rd and goal at like the 18-yard line because he took a previous sack. Runs back not 30 yards, but it was like 15, 20 yards, takes a sack, brings them out of field goal range, and they have to punt.
Yeah.
Inside their own territory on 4th and goal.
Yeah.
Like, that is so bad. But, I don't know, like, you're just hoping he's coachable, which we can't really speculate. I'm not going to speculate if he is or he isn't.
I don't think he is.
Yeah, but I'm not going to make my prediction because we don't know him.
Yeah.
And, yeah, he's definitely, I would say, if he's there in late 3rd, mid-3rd,
Yeah, I take
you can
him
take a shot on him there. I wouldn't hate that, but obviously I
there. I
think
just don't think he's worth anything before that. But obviously he's not going to be there in the 3rd.
he's
So
probably not going to be there in the 2nd.
he's not going to. But I think this is the first one we agree on almost everything that was said, so that's amazing. Let's move on to number 5. Is this where you got Dart?
This is where I have Dart. I'm curious. Your 5 is like, it might be Milroe, but I don't know. You hate Milroe, so
Yeah,
I don't know.
I
But
made that clear.
we've already talked about Dart a bit. I just think he's a low upside project.
Yeah.
So, like, if you're going to take, like, think about this. Gabriel is supposed to go way after him. Gabriel's upside is higher than Jackson Dart's upside, in my opinion, and he's a way higher chance to succeed. I don't understand how these two... they're obviously not being compared right now. I don't think they should be compared either, but I think it should be the other way around. Like, I just don't understand. His talent is, besides his height and his frame and his physicality, I think he's worse at everything, basically, than...
I think that Gabriel's better.
Gabriel. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I don't know. I think you're hating too much on Dart. Like, I get that he doesn't deserve where he's going right now, but to have him behind Milroe by 3 spots is just disrespectful, man. I mean, Milroe sucks, dude. Like, he's not going to be good. And we're going to come back to this. Clip this for next year. Right now, clip it. He said Jalen Milroe is his 2nd best quarterback in this class.
Clip that?
Clip that. Because that is
I
embarrassing.
said he wouldn't be good for 2 years.
Okay,
so
well,
we're
let's
going to clip
this
it
in 3
next
years. But he is not good. He's just not going to be good.
So are we going to talk about him now, or are we going to wait?
Jalen Milroe? We already
Is he your
talked
5th?
about him. So
Is he
let's
your
talk
5th?
about someone new. My number 5 is Will Howard. Now, let me explain a little bit for you guys. I think Will Howard is kind of underrated. Obviously, I'm at 5, so I don't think he's that underrated. But I think that I don't think he's bad. He's got a good ball. Just like, it's a pretty ball to watch. And that's more than I can say about anyone else that I have left to put here. This class is not deep. Once we get past 5, once we get past Milroe and
Is Milroe your 6th then?
yeah. But once we get past Milroe and Howard, we have like Riley Leonard. Like, we don't got nobody else to talk about. So he was like my only other option. I don't think Milroe's worth the spot. I think Howard, hot take, I wouldn't be surprised if Howard's better in this league than Shedeur is. Purely because they're both known as accurate, ready now quarterbacks. They don't have
I don't
high
think Will
ceilings.
Howard's as accurate, like, as you are talking about. I think he's, for this class, he's above average.
Yes,
But
I think while he's a little bit less accurate than Shedeur in the intermediate range, I think he's got a way better deep ball, like way better. And that showcased in the playoffs. He was able to hit some deep balls. My biggest concern for him, 1, he doesn't have ceiling. Let's be honest, his ceiling's so low. 2, he played with by far the best supporting cast in the country.
yeah, I was just thinking about that. I was
I mean,
oh crap, he's
yeah,
maybe the best player in the country catching his passes.
Ibuka and Jeremiah Smith. So I think that, and by the way, Ibuka's going to be a first-round guy probably. And
Most likely.
Jeremiah Smith's probably going to be a top 5 pick next year. So I think that, or not next year, 2 years.
2 years.
So I think that it's just hard because he has such a good supporting cast, and that tends to make the quarterback not work out as well in the NFL. But that's why I'm at 5, because I don't have anything special about him. I don't think he's a special quarterback, but I think he's average, and I think that that's more than anyone else left. And I think that at worst he's a good backup. I think that's his floor, and I think his ceiling is like mid-tier starter. So if you want to take him in like the 5th, I'm chill with that.
So if you're a team that's looking for not a quarterback to start right away, obviously, a quarterback that's going to sit behind an older quarterback and hopefully eventually is going to be the succession plan, you'd rather have Howard than Milroe. Because
did I not just say that that's not what I want him for? Like, this list isn't based off of who I want to sit behind another quarterback. This list is based off of who I think the best quarterbacks are and who they will be.
Yeah, well, right now, no one you're taking this late is going to be a plan to start.
Right, and
anytime soon.
Exactly. And I don't think Milroe should be a plan to start because he's not going to. So
I don't think Will Howard will ever start an NFL game, unless obviously he's back up.
That's why I put him at 5. Because I don't think that he's necessarily a great quarterback or anything, but I think he's the best one left.
I understand, like, after 6, nothing. But
I think after 4, there's nothing. I think that Will Howard is the best option. Like, I think Milroe is so guaranteed to be bad that I just don't understand trying to put resources into making him a starter one day. I think it's a waste of time, waste of resources, and it just doesn't make any sense to me. So I'd rather take a backup, or I'd rather take a guy that can be a mid-tier starter at best, because at least you've got a backup and you can take him late in the draft.
Okay, interesting.
So
want to hear my number 6?
Will Howard?
Yeah. So I do think that the value in the 5th or 6th round, you're paying for a quarterback to not have to pay $6 million for a backup quarterback, which is a lot more valuable than people think.
I think he'd be a high-tier backup. I think he can be a high-tier backup easily.
Can be. I don't think his rookie contract he might not be, but he'll be at least a lower end backup. So I think that's a fun pick. Mm-hmm. Anyone else you want to talk about? I have a few other guys I watched. So
I can talk about Riley Leonard. I watched him a little bit. I haven't watched Kyle McCord, so you can touch on him. But Riley Leonard is just bad. The fact that Notre Dame made the championship with him is crazy to me. Obviously, they had by far the easiest path out of the people that had a chance. But I think that it's still impressive that they made it there. Riley Leonard's got rushing upside, I guess. He runs the ball pretty well sometimes. But, like, in the Ohio State game, they kind of just honed in on that. We're like, oh, he can only run, and then they stopped being able to score. So I think that, I don't know, there's no upside. Like, he's just bad. He's inaccurate. He has a weak arm. He's slow, but he's supposed to be good at running. Like,
he's not really slow.
He's not slow, but he's slow for a runner.
He's slow for a runner who's supposed to be fast.
Yeah, exactly.
He's faster. I'd say he's faster than Jackson Dart.
No, I disagree. I think Dart's a lot faster.
I don't think so. I think you combine the speed and the power of Jackson Dart, and he's obviously he might even be a better runner. But yeah, but I do think Riley Leonard in a straight line is faster.
Okay, well.
But what I think with him is his floor, I just came up with this, is Max Duggan. Yeah. So he's a similar player.
Yeah, Max Duggan.
Yeah. He's actually a similar player if you think about it. They both went to the championship. Yeah, they're both white. They both run.
They're both white.
Yeah, but his ceiling is Daniel Jones, who had 18 touchdowns, 5 picks 1 year, took his team to the playoffs. So that's his ceiling. 20th best quarterback in the league for 1 year. Yeah, so. But that's like.
You're saying his ceiling's $45 million.
I guess. If it's the Giants.
All right, you want to touch on McCord or anybody else?
I mean, I know McCord's kind of everybody's favorite sleeper quarterback down the board, but people have said he's like Brock Purdy. He's not nearly the accurate or as pro-ready at anything, just worse at everything. I'd say his talent is a bit better at throwing the ball. I do think Purdy, his arm is underrated, but McCord's is a bit better. His supporting cast throughout his career has been very good. He went to Ohio State, then transferred to Syracuse. Syracuse receivers, I think there's one that's coming out this year, one that's coming out next year. They're both pretty good, like 5th-round prospects, which that's fine. I don't know. I just didn't see anything special from his game to make me want to take him outside the 6th or 7th round. So
yeah. Well, are there any other quarterbacks you want to talk about?
I watched Ewers, former.
Oh, I completely forgot about when you were.
Yeah.
he sucks. He's so bad I forgot about him.
Yeah, he was the former best recruit in high school history, I think.
Wasn't he projected to be a top 5 pick coming into the year?
This year, he was maybe 10th. I don't know, something like that. Like 10th overall pick.
5th?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't see, for a guy who is the best high school recruit ever, I don't see talent. Like, his arm talent isn't that good. His deep ball, worst deep ball in the class, in my opinion.
I think if they played Arch, they would have won it all. I think
When he's trying to get a ball deep, he just throws it as hard as he can. He does not care where it is. He just wants the receiver to find it. He could be in the middle of the field when they're running on the sideline. So he can just get under it. It's so bad. His accuracy everywhere is bad.
He's another guy that had an incredible supporting cast, but he wasn't able to do anything with it. He just looked bad every game.
Always had a speed receiver. Adonai Mitchell. He had Worthy. He had Golden, who just ran under 4.3. Bond, who's faster on film than Golden. So, I don't know. He's always had the speed, deep threat guy who can stretch the field. His deep ball. Yeah, and they're all should favor a deep ball quarterback, which he should be, but he's not.
He's just bad.
He's
so
also
bad.
always had a run game.
I just think it was stupid of him to start him over Arch this year. He single-handedly sold that playoff game. I don't know if you watched the semis or the playoffs, but against Ohio State, it was bad, man.
The end of the game,
Yes.
I think I watched the last quarter.
He definitely sold that. So I just think if you take him anywhere higher than the 6th,
I would even say that's a waste.
Yeah, honestly.
He is not good.
He's so bad I forgot to bring him up. This was that. So
I'm trying to think if I forgot anybody.
I just think he's bad. I can't think of anybody else. You can think of anybody else.
I think that's everything.
All right. Well, that's going to be it from us today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Tune in next week. We're going to be ranking the running backs. Top 10 next time, most likely. Just because this running back class is ridiculously deep. So we'll go over that next time. And, thanks for watching, y'all.